Now, Scarlxrd is a very interesting character. If I were to use only one word to describe him, that word would be different. He's very different from most artists his age. The first time I ever heard of him, the first time a friend of mine tried to put me on with his music, I listened to about 15 seconds of his music and thought, nah, miss me with this heathenist music. I'm a child of God, I was raised right. It was just too different from the type of music I usually listen to. Plus, I was never really into rock at that time. It was only this year I decided to just randomly revisit his music on YouTube. And I don't know if it was the maturity, maybe it's because I'm a different person than I was 3 years ago, but I started really understanding the appeal of his music. I started seeing what is really so nice about this type of sound. His music is almost an outlet. Just from listening to his music, you feel like you're releasing so much energy and you're releasing so much rage out of your system. So if you feel like maybe you have anger problems and you don't necessarily feel like committing any felonies or any actions that will get you in trouble, I'd suggest listening to Scarlxrd. It takes a really brave and creative person, a person with a lot of creative intuition, to do what Scarlxrd is doing. I'd say it's even impressive. In an era where everybody's practically copying the Young Thugs, the Futures, the Lil Waynes, the Drakes, here comes this young man with this genius idea to take heavy metal and fuse it with trap music. He basically saw an open market and dived straight into it, thus making him so unique and separate from everybody else. He sticks out like a sore thumb, and that works for his image. He blew up around 2017 after releasing the music video for his song Heart Attack, which is currently sitting on about 64 million views. He followed that up with a couple other songs that also went viral, also sitting on a couple million views themselves. And his career's practically been on an upward trajectory ever since. But then I also started noticing that Scarlxrd isn't doing something that most rappers his age are doing. When you look at other artists who blew up around the same time he blew up, there's a type of strategy, there's a thing that these other artists do. I'm talking about your Lil Pumps, your Lil Uzi Verts, your Lil Yachty's, your 21 Savages. There's something that they did that really helped to push their name to a wider audience that Scarlxrd isn't doing. And that thing is collaborating with other artists. I shouldn't really have to explain what collaborating with other artists does to one's career, but it really introduces you to another artist's fan base. It exposes you to a group of people that have probably never heard of you, only heard of you in a song here and there. It really lets them understand and know who you are, thus them becoming your new fans. And then even after that, you can still gain more popularity through word of mouth. Just as an example, back around 2011, I remember I was listening to one of my favorite bands at the time, and the song I was listening to featured some random artist that I had never heard of, and I didn't really think much of him at the time. Now we all know this rapper as Kendrick Lamar. Now, I'm mentioning this because I realize Scarlxrd may not have this privilege, and it's just for one big reason, a reason that I mentioned earlier before. He's too different. I remember watching one of his interviews and he was even talking about, even in the UK, he's so different. Everybody else is either partaking in grime or UK trap or any other type of music. Nobody's really looking into heavy metal trap. He's the only one that does that. And like I said before, that can be a good thing. He sticks out, he draws attention. But on the other hand, he can be too different, thus making him unable to collaborate with other artists because their sounds would never match. Now, it's not uncommon for an artist to collaborate with another artist who makes music in a different genre. This is why your Drakes can collaborate with your Summer Walkers, because they know that a lot of rap fans might be R&B fans, and a lot of R&B fans happen to be rap fans as well. So it works out for the both of them. But at the same time, if you're too different, it eliminates the possibility of collaborating with other artists. This is why you'll never see Eminem collaborating with Taylor Swift, or you'll never hear Shawn Mendes collaborating with Chief Keef. It wouldn't work out well. Now, in Scarlxrd's defense, there are a handful of artists that maybe be able to work with in future. But like I said, it's a handful, it's not a lot of artists. And unfortunately, out of that handful of artists, one of the biggest names happened to have unfortunately passed away a year ago. So yeah, from my perspective, it really looks like Scarlxrd's journey to become a household name, to find massive success as a musician, is a very lonely one. And I can't list a lot of artists who really made it 100% on their own. Everybody had some type of cosign. A cosign is a very powerful tool. I remember a couple years ago, there was a random video of Drake dancing to a Kodak Black song before Kodak had blown up, and the rest was basically history. You know, he practically threw everything away, but that's a story for another video. Happened to have made that video. So yeah, what do you guys think? Does Scarlxrd appeal to you? Do you know any artists that he might be able to collaborate with? Leave a comment in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and yeah.